Bosch Fawstin is the man that won the cartoon contest that caused so much controversy, the one that spurred the terrorist attack in Garland, Texas. He joins me now from an undisclosed location. Mr. Fawstin, let me start. Have you gone into hiding as a result? I understand you're trying not to let people know where you live.
Oh, definitely. I never had that out there. The Wall Street Journal concluded, after they tried to press me about details about where I am, that I'm in hiding, but I'm not in hiding, as you can see.
Let me ask you about this. I know a little bit about you just from reading up on Pamela Geller's website, from speaking to people that were at the event. My colleague David Menzies was down there watching what happened, saw that you got the People's Choice Award as well. Let me ask with a basic question. Why did you decide to enter this contest?
I've been drawing Mohammed for years, and after getting this is in post-Charlie Hebdo, a world where cartoonists get butchered for drawing Mohammed. I think it was a great opportunity to make a big noise about it. $10,000 will bring a lot of people to draw Mohammed where otherwise they may never have drawn Mohammed. And I've been drawing for years, so I thought I had a possibly good shot at getting the award. And I've been writing and drawing against Islam and jihad for a long time with my own work, The Infidel, with my superhero character, Pigman. So I thought it was a good opportunity to, express our freedom of speech in a big, loud way.
The idea that this is so controversial it shouldn't have happened, that this contest shouldn't have gone on, that you shouldn't be drawing Muhammad, how do you react to those people?
Well, they might as well be Muslim. They might as well be under Sharia law. Because in America, we have the First Amendment. We can draw anything we want. We can offend anyone we want. We can provoke emotions. We can piss people off. We have the right to. And it depends on, then it's up to them to take it, deal with it, and not act like savages and try to kill us. So I think anyone who says that, again, might as well submit to Islam. Might as well.
Your event was described as not a free speech event, but a bigoted event by the New York Times and others. People were saying you were stupid for getting involved, for drawing this. Do you say the same, that those people should just be Muslim at that point and live under Sharia?
No, I mean, it's different. When they say you should not draw Muhammad, it's just stupid but that's a Muslim speaking. They might as well be Muslims to say, you cannot insult Muslims. You cannot piss off Muslims. Where is that written? That's written in Islam. That's written by Muslims. They don't want their prophet shown in any light that they don't like, or in any light at all. And what I mean by that is when these people start talking like this, they are absolutely on the side of those who want to stop us by any means necessary. They're rationalizing their violence. They're justifying their violence. They assume that all Muslims are like this because they take it. This cartoon pissed off 1.5 billion people, I'm told. So all Muslims are in sync with this. They all want to kill me. They all support the murder, my murder, meaning they might not do it themselves, but they would support it if they do. And in that case, that's horrific. But that's they're actually assuming that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I believe that. I know that there's going to be a large number of Muslims that will be upset at this, but I don't believe that all 1.5 billion want you dead as a result of you drawing this cartoon.
What I'm saying is when the New York Times says, I have insulted 1.5 billion Muslims, what they're saying is, I have insulted them all. And some of them might act on it, and meaning all of them would, to some extent, say, well, I wouldn't kill him, but it's right to kill him. Because if you notice all of these polls in the Muslim world, a lot more Muslims, far more Muslims are bloodthirsty without acting on it themselves than we would like to believe.
As in supporting groups that do engage in violence and terrorism.
If I were to be murdered, it might be a small, very small minority of individual Muslims who are not very Muslim who would be upset about it. I even have a Muslim cousin who called me all day. Are you okay? He's an American first. He eats pork. He has a dog, so he's not very Muslim. And that kind of Muslim, I think, would be upset. But outside, anyone who identifies themselves as serious Muslims, because I come from a Muslim background, Albanian Muslim parents in the Bronx, born and raised. So we had a moderate upbringing, quote unquote moderate, even though the misogyny, the Jew hatred was very immoderate. So I left Islam in my mid-teens And post 9/11 is when I really felt, okay, I have to go back and find out if this ideology truly was behind the motivation of the mass murderers. And I found out that it was. And that's why I create my comic book, The Infidel, featuring an ex-Muslim, pigman,
Okay.
a big guy ruthlessly fighting jihad and wearing, as I put it, his pigskin leather in order to exploit the enemy's quote-unquote bigotry.
I,
Um,
Let me ask you about this. You drew an angry-looking man.
yes.
Your version of Muhammad was an angry-looking man with a sword in the air. You didn't distort features.
No.
You didn't do a caricature. You just did an angry-looking man holding up a sword, saying, "You can't draw me."
Yep.
Tell me the thought process that went to that, and the cartoonist response, which says, "That's why I do."
Because, as I said, I've drawn Muhammad for years. I've drawn him in very different ways. You can look at it on my blog, look at Mohammed, Fawstin, and you'll see all these different iterations. So for this, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something unique. And I started drawing them, and I was sketching and thinking. And I said, wait a minute, how about if I have my drawing of Muhammad threaten me, the artist? And I thought that was an interesting take, something, different that I've done. And when he says, you can't draw me angrily with a sword in his hand, I said, well, that's why I draw you. Meaning, I never set out to be a critic of Islam until 9/11 happened. I never set out to draw Muhammad until the Danish cartoonists were threatened. Mm-hmm. And every time a horrific event happened, like Charlie Hebdo, I drew Muhammad again. Just as a reminder, we are a free people. We can do this. And that's my only means of expressing myself. I'm a cartoonist. This is what I do. I'm not a soldier. I'm not going to go fight the enemy. I'm a cartoonist. I have a pen, and I have the freedom to express it.
You said that you're free people. Let me ask you this: the two jihadis that showed up in Garland the other day, Elton Simpson and Nadir Sufi,
Yeah.
they wanted to make sure that no one saw the images of Muhammad, that people stopped showing images of Muhammad. There's an awful lot of media outlets that will not show
Yes, they won't.
the image that you drew. They won't show the Charlie Hebdo images. Do you think that the radicals are winning by the fact that, sure, they're going to die in Garland, but the media is going to self-censor?
I didn't anticipate that it would be this bad. I assumed that some people would be a little stronger than they've been, but they haven't. There have been a few outlets that have published it. I want to ask you right now, off the cuff, will you post the image of Muhammad on your website, Rebel?
I've done it several times. It's been several videos. We've had it up, and we'll continue to have it up.
I appreciate that because after I was on Greta Van Susteren on Fox News, they agreed to put it on. They asked me for a file, and then at the last minute backed out. And from here on out, I'm telling people, as long as you have it on your website or on the air while I'm on it, I will agree to come on. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's shocking to me that many media outlets won't. I understand some, and it's going to be politically motivated. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation here, they're a couple of blocks from me where I'm standing in Ottawa. They won't show it. They still have Piss Christ on their website. Absolutely. They will show those stories. They will rave about the Book of Mormon, but they won't show your cartoon.
And it's not obscene. It's not obscene at all. And I didn't either go out to make sure it wasn't obscene. I just drew something that I thought was interesting and that got to the point of free speech as an American, as a free person, as a Westerner, as someone who's not Muslim, who rejected Islam. And not only rejected it, I want to write against it, to draw against it.
Are you an anti-Muslim bigot, as people have called you?
See, that's their way of trying to absolutely discredit any kind of motive that I have. I am anti-Islam, absolutely. There's no question about it. I'm anti the ideology that calls for our death, that calls for women to be second-class citizens in their own countries, that calls for Jews to be shunned, if not killed outright, that calls for every kind of horrific acts against individuals who are not Muslim. I am against that 100%. Muslims are human beings. And some of them are human beings first before they're Muslim, and some are Americans before they're Muslims. Like I said, some of my cousins. Mm-hmm. They want to live their lives, especially the ones in the West. They live and breathe as a free people. They interact with free people in a free culture. So they naturally are edified, naturally are enlightened, to the point that they're not very Muslim, which is good. But they should not credit Islam. That's my problem also. They should never credit Islam for their tolerance, quote unquote, for the way they live lives, for the way they interact with Americans, with people in very similar ways than most Americans do. It's in spite of Islam that they're decent, good human beings, in spite of it.
Let me pick on one of the organizations that has tried to paint you as a bigot that shouldn't be listened to, New York Times. They published an editorial denouncing your cartoon, denouncing the event that you were at, the contest that you were a part of. And at the same time, on either side of that editorial, they had op-eds and columns from people calling for Catholicism to be completely revamped, and saying that Catholicism is outdated. They completely disagree with it. It's horrible. And the same about Israel. That Benjamin Netanyahu is too much of a hawk. He's too much of this. He's a Zionist, so on and so forth. What drives that, in your opinion? This desire to give, in my view, Islam special treatment that no other religion, no other ethnic group will get.
I mean, I could say sheer cowardice, multiculturalism, political correctness, Islamic correctness, as they call it now, whereas it's an extreme form of political correctness, which is basically focused on Islam. It's their way to try to not be racist when the fact is Islam is not a race. You look at me, would you ever look at me and say, well, that's a Muslim, clearly? Meaning we are blonde hair, blue-eyed, we are red hair, we are Arabs, we are Turks, Albanians. It's an ideology through and through and through. And I think they just feel like, I can't get in their heads. And I have many theories. I think it's just sheer cowardice. They don't want to be called something that is deemed, beyond the pale, racist. A lot of them. And they accuse me of being racist.
Parting words and final thoughts to you.
This was a reminder of the war that we're in. We had the event. The event to me, it was in the wake of Charlie Hebdo, which was a horrific attack. And this is just a reminder of the war we're in and of the enemy and of the war against our freedoms and free speech. Not just from the enemy, but from the media, the scum media, as I call it, who will apologize to death for Islam, for its responsibility for this, and go after me, Pamela Geller, Robert Spencer, Geert Wilders, as the monsters in this. And I just want to say, to hell with them. We're going to keep telling the truth about Islam, about jihad, about the threat that we face. And eventually the truth will out, and we could finally one day act on that truth and defeat the jihad and give otherwise, decent Muslims, human beings who identify as Muslims, to stop and think about their ideology and maybe change it. What I mean is we have to defeat the killers first, and then they can take a breather and leave us the hell alone and pretend that Islam's fine after they recognize that there is a hostile nature about the religion that is fundamental to it.